Hi, my name is Alix Ducros. I'm a PhD student from Université de Lyon, and I will present situated sketching and enactment for pervasive displays, paper that I wrote with Clemens Klokmose from Aarhus University and Aurélien Tabard from Université de Lyon. It is, of course, no news for people here in this room that public pervasive displays that once a long time ago were something limited to sci-fi literature and you become visions are more and more present in our daily lives. And station, shops, and airport are typical places where this kind of technology is currently being deployed. And if you have the chance to pass by the new Istanbul airport, you definitely should have a look at the huge display they have there. Maybe with easier access, you can see interactive bus stops start to appear in cities. For example, here in London. Even closer to us, at the Incheon airport, at the bus stop, there are at least 4 kinds of different types of display to convey information to passengers. The context of this following work is the PLACED project. The PLACED project is interested in the design and deployment of pervasive public displays in libraries. Libraries are rich third places, inhabited by a broad variety of people and hosting various activities. From the main hall to the music or the sociology department, each place has different practices, already existing ecology of information, and offer various design opportunities. And to design for those particular places, we organized participatory design activities that involved librarians, and we were also interested in exploring how we could support place-centric design. All this led us to ask ourselves this question: how to design for a place? And before trying to find an answer to that, we may ask ourselves, what's a place? From previous work on this question, we consider 3 main dimensions. First, the spatial dimension of the place, that is, its architecture, or how the shelves are placed in the environment, or what are the access points. Then there's the human dimension of the place. Who are the people? Why do they come? And what kind of activities are happening around? And finally, how do those parameters change through the time of the day or in response to specific events, like a conference taking over the library? And to adapt to a given place, one has to consider all those parameters right from the beginning and all along the design process. We argue that it is a difficult task to do from behind a computer, at your office, and far from the place you are designing for. To consider this kind of dimensions, situated design methods have been proposed in previous literature. Among them, the term body storming covers activities that go from situated brainstorming to advanced enactment of scenarios with props and actors. Deriving from that, and closer to what we did, embodied design focuses on processes that allow experiencing a place in order to quickly express ideas and proposals together with non-designers. Taking inspiration from previous work on embodied design, our workshop process can be divided in 3 main stages. First, ideate, that is brainstorm ideas, scenarios, devices. Then iterate, confront your ideas you had and see how they do in situ, and fix them when you need. And finally, enact, play the scenarios and shoot a video of it, also in situ. Of course, you can repeat the process as many times as you want. Based on our experience of designing public displays, as well as previous research, we identified a few limitations with the tool we would normally use, paper. While it's a very versatile support, digital tools offer additional ways to manipulate, reuse, and modify sketches. Paper also does not have the same affordances nor physical properties compared to screens, and it can become problematic if you want to evaluate a device idea. Glowing and animated elements do not have the same effect than static sketches. Moreover, enacting and shooting videos of interactive and reactive elements can quickly become a time-consuming task when require editing of several video cuts. And last, recent work suggests that static sketching could hinder the exploration of more interactive elements. To support the different stages of our design process and also answer the limitation I just presented, we've developed a digital sketching tool, Ébauche, with 3 main goals. First, provide a collaborative sketching experience to our participants during the workshops. Then allow an easy deployment of the sketches to nearby displays to quickly see how it looks like in real life. And then support basic interactivity with those sketches to facilitate enactment and the shooting of videos. The workflow goes like this. First, you have a place where designers can go to. Using Ébauche, they can start to draw sketches, taking inspiration from their surroundings. Sketches are collaborative, so they can work on the same drawing or split task as they wish. And once you want to visualize how a sketch would fit in the environment, you can send it to a nearby display, or to a tablet if you had some with you. And once you send a couple of sketches to a display, you can just touch it to simulate a scenario. Because the real thing may be more interesting with less sound, this video showcases the basic functioning of Ébauche. So you draw sketches, you send them to nearby displays. It's still real-time collaborative, and once you send a few of them, you can just touch it to simulate some kind of interaction. This second video is an example of an enactment that we did in a study, but because I think I'm going to fall behind if I show all of it, I'll just skip it. So Ébauche was developed as a web application based on WebStraits. Its complexity was cut down a lot to fit to a workshop process. That is, we had an extremely time-constrained workshop, and we had a lot of people that were novice to sketching. We used Ébauche during 6 design workshops with librarians, and iterated on its design each time to make sure that it supported our work process and to overcome the challenges of making it work in situ. That is, well, network access on the public library Wi-Fi is quite challenging. But if you want more information about that part of the design process or the participatory design workshops we had with librarians, I invite you to read the paper. Now, let's have a look at the study we conducted. Here, we wanted to explore further how we could remediate embodied design activities from paper with a digital tool by conducting a study in a more controlled environment. Our goal was to analyze, first, how design ideas integrated in space and leverage physical opportunities, how the scenario integrated in the social context of the place, how interactive were the design ideas, and finally, what was the influence of either paper or Ébauche on the outcome and the design process. To do that, we invited 8 pairs of designers, 6 from a design school and 2 professionals, to work with paper and Ébauche on 2 different tasks. The first task took place in the library, and participants had to design a system displaying upcoming events. And the second task was in a different and more constrained place, in a smart room situation where they had to support remote collaborative work scenario. Each group started by answering individual questionnaires about their background and their experience as designers, and then they were introduced to both tools, paper and Ébauche, during a 10-minute training task. After that, they were brought to one of the place with one of the tools to perform the first design task. 5 minute breaks later, and they were brought to the second place, second tool, the other design task. During each session, they had 30 minutes to first read the materials giving context, ideate, prototype design ideas, and shoot a video of an enactment. Once the tasks were done, they individually answered the questionnaire focusing on the design process and their overall experience. They then presented to us the video enactments they produced, and we finished by a semi-structured interview of roughly 20 minutes. Besides the 2 questionnaires and the interview, each group was audio and video recorded all along, and each group also produced at least 2 video enactments. Our main focus was on analyzing the 25 video enactments that were produced, and also the debrief interviews, in order to identify and quantify key elements in the design concepts, such as interactions or different states of the screens or the use of contextual elements, etc. A first observation we were able to make is that Ébauche tend to encourage designers to create interactive and reactive displays. In this picture, for example, participants designed the display that was changing depending on the position of the user to grab his attention and invite him to touch the display. Ideas made with paper were overall more static and featured less interactive elements. On the other hand, speaking about leveraging space, paper, due to its very malleable nature, encouraged designers to explore more ways to integrate in space. It's easy, just stick it. What you can see here is what's the most common way to augment elements with paper, some kind of poster, and it can be done on walls, floor, ceiling, or on furniture. Looking at the sketching process, we observed that the use of Ébauche encouraged a lot of designers to refine their sketches. 5 of the 8 groups did significantly modify the sketch, while we did not observe this behavior at all when using paper. Here, for example, is one of the group trying 4 different versions of a sketch. But overall, designers felt and were more creative with paper as they generated more ideas and explored more ways to use their surroundings. They also explored a broad variety of form factor. We had proposals for banners hanging from the ceiling, tickets, projections, etc. While using Ébauche, they mostly designed screens. Right now, using Ébauche with displays in situ is still quite a bit cumbersome because you have a huge setup process. And as you just saw, there are trade-offs. Here, augmented reality opens interesting opportunities and to explore various form factors and an easier embedding in the environment. We developed the first prototype using AR Toolkit and mobile devices and tested its integration with our current design workflow. Unfortunately, our need to enact scenarios made us leave aside this solution for now. But we could have a new look at it maybe if every participant of our workshop was equipped with a HoloLens. So if by any chance some of you have a dozen spare HoloLens you don't use at your lab, email me, but yeah. Embodied design sure has a cost, as it's non-trivial to organize such a design session in situ in a public space. But because the process is possible, it is possible to uncover challenges that are either social or technical all along and really early. And it also allows you to reveal great opportunities for design. With the use of Ébauche in the workshops and the study, we showed that with tools fit for embodied design, we can go further and obtain richer outcomes. And together with participatory design approaches and additional ways to consider what is a place, such as maps maybe, then that may help us to better design for place. Thanks for your attention. Finally, I was right on time and a bit shorter, so if you have any question, I'll be happy to try to answer it.
So questions, don't forget to state your name and affiliation if you have any questions. Yeah.
Hi, Laurent from LMU Munich. My question was, would you try our augmented reality device, see-through, or to augment papers through the augmented reality Google to mix the two approaches?
That's a good question. I didn't think about it this way. So now that you say it, I think it could be a lower tech and more interesting way to augment paper, so we can still keep the flexibility of paper, but also have all the interactivity that comes with augmented reality.
We have time for more questions. Don't be shy. unless the lunch is weighing a little bit on you. So, I'll ask a question. So you mentioned that people were using paper, they were sticking papers around, they were using the space to just hang papers. So do you think that this is because of like the weight of the devices, that people felt more constrained by these tablets and displays? And do you think like maybe the upcoming sort of lighter foldable displays will change that? Like people will think that these foldable displays can be used very much like paper, and they will start interacting with those devices like paper?
Yes, probably. Foldable displays or upcoming technology might solve that problem at some point. But that was not the only thing, because when using paper, participants were very keen to just cut it or fold it in ways that are, very creative. And even with foldable displays, I'm not sure you want to cut.
Right. But so that means it also depends on the creative task, like if they have to cut out bits and pieces of paper. So, it's kind of interesting. We're still very far away from mimicking the affordabilities of paper. No questions. All right. So thanks again to Alix for this talk. And